Fables and Foibles of Wild Abundance, a permaculture homestead and education center in the mountains of western North Carolina.
So what was awesome and what I would change about perennials on the land. So this first picture, this is a picture of the perennial hedge, which was one of the first things that we did on the land. So when I first moved onto the land, I was really hesitant to place perennials because that's a really big decision. I mean, I always thought that I'd buy a piece of land and then the first thing I would do is plant my apple trees. But then what happens if you want to put a house where the apple trees are? And has anyone seen people move trees before? I've seen this a lot. And it is not something I want to do. And so I think in the history of wild abundance, we have moved 2 trees, which is not so bad. Not so bad at all. Okay, so anyway, these, so this is the perennial hedge. And so when I first got the land, there's this road, this small driveway that our neighbors go down. They kind of drive to town a lot. So there's a small driveway, and then there's the garden spot. So I wanted to, someday I would love to be able to garden topless, even though I have a state trooper as a neighbor. But in order to do that, I need a serious hedge, because you don't want to be offending people, as human anatomy can often do, strangely. So I was like, okay, I am going to build a hedge. And so this is a pretty awesome hedge. You guys see what kind of polyculture is going on here? What kind of species? Anybody know what species you see? There's elephant cane on the right, which is an awesome medicinal. There's Rose of Sharon, kind of that big bush, which people often think is very bad, but it has edible flowers, which are really awesome. There's Angelica, someone mentioned. There's black hollyhock, which is an awesome dyed plant. There's there's echinacea, and then there's that tall thing, which is I can't remember. And then anyway, there's lots and lots and lots of awesome plants here, and it's really helpful for when I teach my permaculture classes, and I'm like, oh, you want to see some stacking and packing? Let's go look at their perennial hedge. This also offers awesome biodiversity, which is really helpful for pollinators and just really awesome and feels really good. One thing about the perennial hedge though is that some species tend to be a lot more successful than others. And so I think it's really important that you not do things like put daylilies or something under or anywhere next to your thornless blackberries, or your Rosa rugosa, or your elderberry, or your gumi. And so these are things that are super, super duper successful and make an awesome hedge. And they all are also fairly short, because this is to the east of my garden. Do you think I'd want to have tall stuff in the hedge? What would happen? Who wants to shade their annual garden? That would be dumb. So this is really awesome and successful. And I'd say the biggest change that I would do is I would put things that are not as aggressive, like these strawberries and the asparagus, which I actually did here, amazingly, away from the more aggressive things. And here it's really cool. The strawberries are actually, you can't see them in this picture, but they are an understory in between blueberries. And so blueberries are not the fastest growing thing in the world. Has anyone experienced this? Yeah. So, but you don't want to plant them close together, because then what's going to happen? They'll get crowded and then they won't produce well in the future, 15 years from now. And so what I did was I planted strawberries in between. And how long do you want strawberries to be in one place? Just a couple of few years. So isn't that great? They're like a placeholder. Okay, so that was smart. This Ellen campaign, also, I love it. It's really good for long stuff. So this is an interesting example. So this is a hardy citrus, which is a fairly slow growing thing. And then do y'all see what I planted around it? Clover. So what does clover do? It fixes nitrogen. And what else does it do? Ground cover. So it's suppressing weeds. So this is a really important thing when you're in the early stages of planting a forest garden, that you really utilize your legumes and your ground covers especially. This is fun, stacking and packing through time. So I've got my perennial, what's the perennial that you see here? The asparagus.
That's the butt, oh, sorry.
So the asparagus is our perennial, and there's probably other things in the background. So as the season progresses, do you think it's a problem that I have these nasturtiums and this calendula growing in the space of the asparagus? No, it's fine. It's totally fine. So this is a really important thing to think about when you're like, oh, I have these annuals and I don't have room for them. There's lots of places you can stick annuals where they won't cause problems. This is Sochan. Has anyone ever grown Sochan, or green-headed coneflower? Oh, yeah. So it's often planted as an ornamental, but it was the Cherokee's favorite green, and it's one of the most successful, most awesome perennial vegetables that I have growing on my land. I really recommend it. Sochan is the Cherokee name, but it's also called green-headed coneflower. And this is a nice shot of relative location. So we have the, you can't see it. We have the herb garden, see the lemongrass and sage and a bunch of other things. We have it, like, see the relative location. There's the kitchen over there, and then there's the cabin. So see how close it is. And do y'all notice how this is in the summertime? How, and it's a picture in the afternoon. The kitchen and the cabin, what do you notice about them? Shade. What is it like here in southern Appalachia if you're on a south-facing slope in the afternoon? It's hot. What is it like in the morning? It's kind of nice. So you probably want the sun coming into your buildings in the summertime in the morning, but do you want it in the afternoon? Not so much. People are different though. I don't like being hot. Some people don't mind being hot. And they should build on the south-facing slope. So this is a picture, and if I lived in Boone, I would build on the south-facing slope. So, and this is all in Barnardsville. It's just 20 minutes north of town. This is mountain mint. So I actually did a class on this yesterday. I'm really into taking things from the wild and bringing them into my garden. And so I can access them more easily. And I can play with them and kind of breed them. Anyway, it's kind of like a little risque, this whole domestication. But, so this is mountain mint. It's done incredibly well, and I love having it. I would recommend everyone growing mountain mint. Lemon balm, Lissa, also really wonderful mint to have around. There's a lot of mints that I don't think are worth it, because what do mints tend to do? They can really take over. So what I've done is I've made a mint, I have a couple mint areas. And in those mint areas, I have mints, and they can just duke it out. And I'm fine with it. They can just like have fun. But do you think I put the mints in with the strawberries? No. Okay, so this is a mistake. So we put this fig tree next to the gravel road because we don't have asphalt. Why would I want to put a fig tree by asphalt? To keep it warm, because the asphalt has thermal mass. And I was like, well, I bet the road has some thermal mass. So we put the fig there. But then the fig died. So just so you know, the gravel road won't necessarily have the thermal mass you might hope. Wineberries. So wineberries are a non-native, non-invasive. And they fruit way better in partial shade to somewhat mostly shade. So I've tried growing them out in the open in my place, and they don't do well. So just so you know, you can take that. Maybe they would do better at your place out in the open. They did great in Boone out in the open. But I would definitely, they fruit very well in the forest, but they fruit horribly the places I planted.
Do you know where they're from?
Asia, China. I don't know exactly where. They're from Eurasia. But I really like these plants that are non-native, non-invasives. I think we humans who are not all of Southern Appalachian indigenous stock, which I imagine is the majority of people in this room, I think we can learn a lot from the wineberry because they grace us with many fruits of delight. And do they take over the forest? No, they're great. They're both great. And they taste so good. I've seen bears. I've like watched bears. Okay, this is Daylily. It's one of my favorite perennial vegetables, along with soja. So I'd really recommend it. The roots, like I was on this survival trip some years ago, and we ate largely Daylily roots because we were at this old homestead that had been abandoned. It was an old town. It had been abandoned for like 80 years. And there was this little patch of Daylilies. They weren't like taking over, but they were still there, and we like launched on the roots. They're really good. But you always want to cook the greens, and you only want to harvest them when they're young. And see that maintenance, this pesky thing, we're going to talk about that. What's that growing with the poison? Yeah, do you want that in your garden? Yeah, do you think permaculture just plants stuff and then it takes care of itself? Okay, so this is a fun thing. This is blueberries interplanted with Chana, and they're planted on the bank of our little creek, and they seem to do really, really well there. Blueberries are kind of a pain in the butt. They really like to be moist. You guys know about this? You want to water your blueberries, but why not put it next to a creek and then the creek waters? This video was made by Wild Abundance, where we teach skills for self-sufficiency.
Like homesteading, permaculture, woodcraft, wild foods, and tiny house and natural building, all in the beautiful mountains around Asheville, North Carolina. Check out wildabundance.net to learn more about our classes and consultations.